All right, gentlemen, I've got a question from a lovely young lady who wants to know what men talk about when they get together. Let's hear what she has to say first.
What do men talk about when they're alone? Because I genuinely do not understand how men do not know personal facts about the other.
All right, let's dive in, shall we? So to answer your question, why don't we know facts about the other? Because we don't care. It's not that big a deal to us. You see, I think what you're really struggling with is that men and women think entirely different. We have different priorities. We have different wants. We have different needs. And speaking of that need, we really don't need to know everything about our friend and what's happening in their lives. If they want to share it with us, that's fine. But we're not going to go probing and we're not going to dig into things. That's what women do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not what men do.
Like, I recently got lunch with two guys and they know each other and I know both of them separately. And we were all hanging out and we'd never all hung out together. And I said something to the guy and I was like, yeah, and then your fiance. And the other guy was like, oh my God, congrats, man. I didn't know you were engaged.
All right, I get it. You're not understanding this. And it's perfectly valid that you don't. You're coming at it from the female mindset. But as I said, the male mindset is completely different. If the one guy wanted the other guy to know he was engaged, he would have told him. The fact that he didn't doesn't really mean anything either. They just didn't communicate about it, which I know is confusing to women, and if we're being honest, drives them nuts, but men don't think that way. And that's where the confusion is. You're trying to assign female traits to men. We are two different things. But let's continue.
I didn't know you were engaged. What? He didn't tell you he was going to propose and didn't tell you that he proposed? This is so simple. This is so easy. That was the first thing I learned about it.
All right, I'm going to jump in and throw out another reason why there might be some confusion. We're talking about an engagement, and I get it. That's a big deal to a woman. I mean, they grow up literally from birth dreaming about that wedding they're going to have. But ladies, men, we don't think it's that big a deal to get engaged. At least not the way you do. We care about the woman. We're excited in that respect, but we don't need validation from other men, nor do we need to broadcast it all over the place. In fact, men are much more private than women, which is another issue here. Men don't like their private business blasted all over the place, which is why I often say to women, one of the worst things you can do is take something a man has said to you privately and tell your friends, family, or anyone else about it. You will lose his trust immediately and forever.
And then he said something later and he's like, and then in Connecticut, he was like, oh cool, man, I'm also from Connecticut. Where'd you go to high school? They've been friends for like 4 to 5 years. This has never come up?
Well, apparently, nope, it hasn't. And I'm not in the least bit surprised, because the reality is, it's not that big a deal to us guys. We don't need to know everything about the other guy. Again, that's a woman thing. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we are wired completely different from you. To us, that information is irrelevant.